So here we go again, second session for the day, which is great. Good response. Bad enough it's not even September, and Tony has us back to school twice today. Thanks, Tony. Uh, we're talking financial math, not as scary as most people think, as the title says, and it's not rocket science. So thanks for coming, Tony. It looks like you brought James with you again. Welcome, Tony and James.
Great to be back again today.
A twofer. Hey, hi, James. How you doing?
Good, thanks, Ray. Good to be here too.
So Tony, can you introduce James to the people, the panel?
Yeah, James is our backbone of the company, and he's been with us right from the beginning, and he's a seasoned veteran. You don't see much of him because he's behind the scenes, but he's seasoned strategist, and just like all of us, he can sit down and chat with you and help you out.
Okay, excellent. James, I know you'll be handling questions because you did that this afternoon. I hope you're ready again. Maybe there'll be some different questions. I may even repeat some from this afternoon if we are light on questions for participants. Are you ready, James?
Yes, I am. Let's do this.
All right. So Tony, why financial math? Why twice in one day?
Well, twice in one day is to make it more convenient for people that couldn't make it during the lunch hour. The reason I chose this topic is to regularly I speak with clients and friends that are really overwhelmed by the financial jargon that sounds like foreign language. And then they throw in the math and it becomes a very scary proposition, and people are very concerned. Yet it's a very simple subject if you want to break it down. If you can break it down like anything else into smaller pieces, it's easy to understand and it's easy to work with. One of the main cornerstones in finance is compounding of returns, which Albert Einstein said compounding is the world's greatest secret.
Yeah, eighth wonder of the world, if I recall. Especially if you can get it uninterrupted, as opposed to averaging out where you're up 15% one year, down 20 or 30 the next, and that type of thing. But bottom line is we need to take advantage of compounding, but we need to start somewhere, and that's with savings.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sure we've all heard the same saying, saving early and often for the future will lead to financial freedom. However, most people don't understand it. It's a concept that people talk about, but until you see the math behind it, it's a little bit opaque. The banks and financial institutions, they've conditioned us with slogans and tons of jargon that mixes in with the slogans that overwhelms most people.
Yeah, they make it complicated, throw a lot of big words around, make investors feel scared and uninformed. And like I said, too many to remember. Now, out of all this jargon and everything, what stands out to you, Tony?
Well, the jargon that stands out to me is ROR, or rate of return, which really means how much you're making on your savings or your investment. All the different planners and bankers and finance people, they all focus on your investments and your savings, your rate, what you've done, how you've done it. And they like grabbing your statement and comparing it to their own. And they'll say, see, this is way better than what you have because it's higher rate of return and it's better for you. Well, it's only a partial truth because it's not the be all and end all. They have to also put into measure how much risk you're really going to be taking for that actual increase in rate of return. And a lot of people get confused, and they're usually glossed over by this time when they start, well, this looks better than this. Oh, it must be good, right? That's about it.
You get the deer in the headlights look. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. And really, at the end of the day, and I mentioned that in the afternoon webinar, that there's only two ways that people can help, or finance people in financial services can help clients. And that's number one, trying to find a product that gives you a higher rate of return, but that means more risk, as you just said. And the other one is really finding money that they're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily, and putting that to work. So those are the two areas I find that are important.
Yes, those are statements that are very true. And at Queensbridge, we also have one more rule, the 1% rule, which I'm betting no one's heard of, or you haven't heard of before. The 1% rule really is simple, and it works at any level of income. I'll let James handle this one. It's his favorite topic.
All right. Okay, so reducing expenses. No one likes to hear that. What will do for me, James, if I reduce expenses? And what is this 1% rule? James,
James, you're muted.
you're on mute,
I'm
James.
sorry. I'm sorry.
So
Well,
just so what is the 1% rule?
okay, looking at the example on the screen, with an annual income of 60,000 and you assume you can save $500 per month or 6,000 annually. Anything not saved is spent, in this case, 54,000. Next, let's just say you earn 5% in the bank account. So 5% on 6,000 in savings is 300 annually in growth.
Okay, so far the math is simple. 5% on 6,000 gives me $500 a year. Now what?
First, we need to save an extra 1% off your annual expenses you're allowed for, which was 54,000. So 1% is only $540 per year or $45 per month, which for many is possibly one coffee a day.
Yeah, I like that. You use that coffee analogy earlier in the earlier session. I like it. And I'm still going to say $1 coffee sounds scary, but I see the math. Okay. I think we're going to have another slide, if I recall, from this afternoon. Can you explain that?
Okay, again, only 1% savings increase per year would lead to a 9% rate of return in yourself without any risk. Imagine you are in control.
So by saving an additional $540, you're paying yourself first. You've returned 9% to yourself off of the original 6,000 you put away. Can't beat that. So where do you put the money if someone's doing that?
Well, absolutely. This is smart of the three because it's so simple and easy to make it happen for yourself. Yet many people don't realize what a difference it can make down the road. Where we put it requires some work. There are many products, and that requires a deeper conversation with the client.
Fair enough. I mean, I just threw that in there to see if you wanted to say where to put it, but clearly discovery with the client makes sense. Okay, I'm going to check in with Pam now to see if there are any questions out there. Pam, do we have anything in the chat?
Yeah, we have a question from Tony. We have another Tony. Most people have many bills. Is it possible to find additional savings?
Okay, good question. James, how do people find this additional 1%, let alone the 6,000 that you illustrated? How do people do this?
Well, this is where our 10-step process comes in. We help people find money they are losing unknowingly and unnecessarily. To be honest, it's not hard to find savings, but the client must be committed to put those savings to work and not lifestyle expenses.
Yeah, I mean, good point. I mean, it's happened to me in the past. I find some savings, and then people sometimes look to spend instead of save or put it to productive use. Unfortunately, our lifestyles are insatiable, and we're being marketed every second of the day. So
that's right. We tend to think to spend first, save later.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks, James. So far, so good. No advanced calculus here. I got scared when you showed up, even this afternoon. I thought we'd be to some major calculus. Okay, Tony, I want to get paid now. What does pay me now, pay me later?
Well, in a way, I'm just going to build off of what James just discussed. Pay me now or pay me later is also about investing in yourself. These are the assumptions that we are working with in this example. Is a 25-year-old just out of school or trades. They are working on a plan to retire at 65. However, when I talk to 25s, they don't view 65 as a retirement age. They're actually viewing 45 or 50 instead of 65. So let's just, for this example, use 65.
Freedom.
In this example.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And assuming that they're earning 5%
yep.
on their savings portion. We also make an assumption that a 25-year-old starts putting away $5,000 a year for 10 years. So altogether, it's $50,000 that they've saved, and then they, what I call it, let it cook till they're 65. They don't touch it; they just leave it at for 10 years. They put it in for 10 years, and the rest of the time it just builds on its own through the compound effect, and they'll build up a nest egg of about $285,000 at 5%. Now, however, this is not a typical model per se, because majority of 25-year-olds, they want first to buy a car, a nice car, then they worry about paying off their educational debts. Then they look at marriage and the cost of a wedding, which in some places that I've seen around Toronto that are just crazy numbers, and then praying they can afford a down payment on a house plus the mortgage payments. And as soon as they have those mortgage payments, they have this fixation that let's pay this down as fast as we can, because that's the way we should be doing things. Well, not necessarily, and we can discuss that at another time. Then comes the baby, and not only the diapers with the baby, but the education savings plan. So they end up delaying serious savings to at least 45, or in some cases that I've been seeing lately have been mid 50s and or longer or older. The strategies we're showing now, even though I'm using examples of younger people, I don't want the older people to fret, because we can always come up with a strategy for you as well. It'll just be a little bit different. So going back to this example, they save $50,000 and they get $285,000 at age 65.
Wow, incredible. Yeah, I had someone reach out to me after our afternoon webinar, and when you mentioned that whole 25 pay off get the car, pay off the education, everything else, they said they pretty much mapped out their life. that's where they were on that path. So maybe we can correct that. But yeah, I mean, we've been programmed by our experiences, and we discussed this back with Spender Saver Wealth Creator, where we are a product of our environment. And by the way, that's available on QBFS TV for those who missed it. And parents telling us to pay cash, carry no debt, to pay off the house, pay everything off. And we just showed that there's a better way to do that. Unfortunately, life happens, it gets in the way, and that's why people delay this savings process.
And that's why I say, even these slogans we hear about, save early and often, program us. However, it's very hard to really put it together. I actually have a client that he did retire at 55 and very well off, because he actually did do this, saved early. What about financial plans that people only need 60% of pre-retirement income? Try, if that's so true, that's what everyone's saying at these financial institutions, try to live on 60% today and see how that feels. Going back to our example here, that $50,000 that you only had to put in over 10 years initially, if you were at 25, if you started saving at 45, it actually changes, and you're going to have to actually put away $8,220 a year for 20 years to get the result of $285,000. So it's over $164,000 you're going to have to save just to get to the same endpoint as if you would have put 50,000 in when you were younger. That's over 3 times what you needed at the beginning when you started at 25. It's a huge difference, without even complicating the issue of inflation, which really throws a monkey wrench into everything.
Yeah, that is a huge difference. 5,000 to 8,200. That's like 60% increase in your annual contribution, and then you have to stretch that out for 20 years. So I guess it's amazing what a 10-year delay does to your retirement and what you need to put away. As I said this afternoon, more people need to see this. We have to educate our children better, and even the people that are still working. Our education system has failed us in financial literacy, and it's unfortunate. Anyway, off my soapbox. Okay, Pam, any questions here so far?
Yeah, we have a question from Peter, and he would like to know, is it ever too late to start?
Tony?
No, it's never too late to start. It's better to start than not starting. And really, it's sitting down with us or any of your financial advisors and really mapping out where you want to be. But we have a different solution than everyone else does. So I'm very confident in the uniqueness, because we really look for those hidden gems, those where you're spending money unknowingly and unnecessarily, and then realigning it to benefit you and make it better. So yeah, you can start. It's never too late to start.
Yeah, I liked some of your ads on LinkedIn where it says a plan is for your needs, which is your basics, but a strategy is for your wants. And I know as an individual, we always I do anyway, gravitate to what we want as opposed to just our needs. So that's an aside. But if I can ask a question, I'll repeat something from this afternoon. And this was a good question from a participant. Why hasn't anyone showed this to us before?
Well, this is what I get all the time as well. I have clients that that come up to me and say, no one's ever showed me this. Why didn't I know about this? And I go, it's out there, other than we all get programmed, and we get programmed by the big institutions that this is the way they are. Isn't it funny that you never have enough money? That when I was working for the larger institutions, it was funny when I did a financial plan, the people never had enough money. They had to always double down and everything else. But when you really think about it, what's the financial institution doing? They're actually making money off of you putting money away. So they want to encourage you to put more and more and more, whether it's right or wrong. That's what they do. And that's basically something that I look at, that this stuff is it's straightforward, yet no one's talking about it because it doesn't benefit anyone's pocketbook.
Yeah, they make you put away so much money, and at the end of the day, they still want you to live off of 60%.
Yeah.
Okay. So procrastination, I know what that is. How does procrastination affect your retirement, Tony?
Well, I think we've all procrastinated in some parts of our lives or others. This slide, basically, I'm looking at the scenario is your current age today, you're 35, you're planning on retiring at 65. You've saved up $100,000 and you have an annual savings of $5,000. You grow that savings at 5%. So if that's the case today, if you started today at age 65, you'd have $785,000. However, if you delayed that by just 10 years, you would only have a balance of $610,000. That cost of waiting is $175,000, which is a lot of difference once you hit retirement.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how you cut it, 175,000 is a lot of money. I know people could use it in retirement for sure. Yeah. It looks like it affects your ability to draw income. Sorry, I jumped ahead here, Tony, but explain the slide now.
Yeah, well, this slide here, it basically, again, shows the same scenario that we had before, but it actually shows you what that number would give you at age 65 in income. Well, at 65, you'd be drawing 39,000 if you saved money today. However, if you delayed 10 years, you'd only be earning 30,000 on that money that you'd be getting in income per year. So there's a reduction of $8,700 a year. That's clearly a major shortfall. Yeah,
I'm sure you could find a nice trip for $8,700 either with your spouse and maybe even bring kids along or a grand. So anyway, that looks like about 20% in my just ballparking it here. So I guess if people knew that their retirement income would be affected by over 20%, they might take it more seriously. Are we finding this, or?
I think Tony froze.
Oh, is Tony frozen? Okay. Yeah, he's frozen, I guess. James, did you want to handle that part of the question? I just said that's a 20% drop. More people would be interested in their financial well-being if they found out they'd be taking a 20% cut in pay.
Yeah, well, it's actually 22% to be exact. Well, that's the hope that people get more interested in without all the financial speak and crazy math that they get from their advisors.
Okay. So while Tony tries to log back in,
I am back, guys. I just can't, someone's got to put me into I'm back in, guys.
Okay. There you are.
Oh, there I am. Oh, I'm back.
All right. So
Sorry,
James,
I left you guys off. Sweet technology.
Yeah. James addressed the question about the 20% haircut and the financial speak. So I was just going to jump out to Pam and see if there's any questions while you were logging back in, but I'm already asking Pam. So Pam, any questions?
No, I don't see anything in the chat, but we had a good question from our afternoon session from Thomas, and he asked, what are some saving strategies that your clients have been successful with in the past.
So Tony, you mentioned that if even people have procrastinated, that you can still help them. And what strategies have you used?
There's multiple strategies that we can talk about. We'd have to go dig into each individual circumstances a little bit more before we can actually discuss it. But there's many areas that we can find where they're losing money unnecessarily and unknowingly. It's pretty amazing. The five major areas is basically we find it within the way people pay their mortgages, their tax situation, their RSPs and their retirement savings, their education, how they cover for education for their kids, and how they actually buy major purchases. And that's what I mean. A major purchase, whether it's a car, whether it's anything that you desire. And one of the best things to saving strategies is really the simpleness of, as you grow, as you have more income over your lifestyle will creep, meaning you see your neighbors with a nicer car, a nicer thing, and you want something nicer. But if you can actually hold yourself back from some of that, you're going to be fine in the future. And you're relying on yourself. You're not relying on whatever's going to happen out there. There's tons of financial products that we can talk about, but that's not what we're about. We're looking at how to find those savings for you within strategies and redeploying them in different areas.
Yeah. And I remember in a discussion we had on the phone, you mentioned major capital purchases. And if I recall correctly, that is a purchase that someone can't pay for from their monthly cash flow. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So I have to be honest, I really enjoy these webinars and the plain speak. I hope it's projecting into the people that are listening. And unfortunately, our financial services business is all about beta, standard deviation, alpha, and all that kind of stuff. And people want to sound smart in our business when really all our clients or people want to know is, am I okay? Will I be able to retire to the lifestyle I'm accustomed to instead of 60% of the pre-retirement? James, did you want to add anything here?
Yes, at Queensbridge, we just try to keep it simple. Today, we address 3 simple strategies. One, the 1% rule, which shows that what happens if you just save an extra 1% on your saved earnings. 2, pay me now or pay me later. Everyone wants to be paid now, so pay yourself as soon as possible. The third, don't procrastinate on retirement savings. It will cost you more in the end.
Yeah, that's a great summary. And it's amazing, again, just getting back to Tony's slide, where if you did 10 years from 25 to 35, that you'd have to put less in than if you delayed it. Tony, any last words before we wrap up here?
Yeah, not really. James has covered a lot here. Just want to echo James's summary and to tell everyone, it's definitely not rocket science. This is math that should not be scary. These are words that should not be scary. We shouldn't be afraid of finance. And we break it down to very basic so everyone understands. And if I'm sitting with someone, I want to make sure everyone in front of me understands what we're talking about, because there's no need for confusion with big words and different words and acronyms and everything else that this financial industry just throws at you constantly. I also want people to understand that we're doing these webinars and it's just scratching the surface. We're trying to hit topics that we've been hearing a lot about and running into from our clients. And that's basically where we're going with these. There'll be another one coming up in September. And we're going to we can dig a lot deeper on any of these topics. Just set up a 15-minute conversation with us and we'll get into more detail and see if we can help you. It all starts with that 15 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Before we end, we have actually one more question. Question from Mike.
Okay.
What's one of the most surprising way people are losing money?
Tony, James, want to take a stab both or one? Go ahead.
One of the most surprising ways is how they're paying for things. And that basically breaks it down. I know we're saying it in general. I'm saying it in general, but it's basically breaking down on how they pay things, because using other people's money is one thing, but being efficient with what you're doing. And it's basically going back to the last seminar that we had, the spender, saver, and wealth creator. And we were all focused on trying to get people into that wealth creator mode, that you're actually using, you're collateralizing and building forward.
Yeah, that was a good webinar. Mike, if you have a chance, go to QBFS TV, watch that. It really explains how to create wealth and collateralize your assets to make purchases. It's quite impressive. Sorry, Pam, any other questions out there?
I don't see any more questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen this before, so you can go ahead and tell people what's going on.
For sure. So on September 18 at 10 a.m., Queensbridge Financial Strategies will be on BNN Bloomberg Radio at 11:50 on the AM dial. So we hope that everyone can join us.
Okay, thanks, Pam. Once again, thanks to all the registrants, Tony, James, and Pam, for keeping us on track. This has been great. Tony, did you want to add how people get in touch with you for that 15-minute consult?
Yeah, if I could just add again, I would love to see everyone join our Queensbridge community through our social media platforms to stay up to date on the financial strategies that we're posting and questions. And if they have questions, please reach out to us at info@queensbridge.ca. Maybe there's a topic that people want us to address on these webinars. That's fantastic. But also, we can set up that 15-minute consultation just to see if we can be of any value to people. I encourage everyone to take us up on that event, on that consultation.
Yeah, no, 15 minutes, no obligation. And as the saying goes, slam those links and likes and follows. As Tony mentioned, September 18th, there will be another webinar. It's a personal economic model, and that'll be the building block around everything we've talked about. So spender, saver, wealth creator, including these 1% rules that we just discussed today. And it's not only about retirement. What we're going to be talking about is positioning yourself not only for retirement, but also for the curveballs that life throws at you. You know, like I think you called it, what was it, an aha moment, or not? I think you had an old blank moment. You called it, Tony, when a transmission fails or something, you need to raise cash.
Yeah, an old blank moment. And
old blank.
I had a client exactly that happened. And I'm saying, do you have any money in your safe tank that if something happens? And they said, yeah, we just had something blow up on us on our car, and it's going to be a heavy expense. And yeah, I see what you're going. And it was just like one of those aha moments for clients. There's a lot of stories that I could share that I've seen over the years. So,
but they were lucky they had a safe tank, that they were set up, so they were lucky they had spoken to you. So in respect for everyone's time, I see Pam kind of signaling to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us, and until next time.